This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Does it feel like it's getting too expensive to live, let alone go out and have some fun? Sometimes I wonder if Vegas has priced out locals. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm here with two longtime Las Vegans, my co-host David Figler and newsletter editor Rob Katchel-Reese. Both these fellas are men about town, and they're going to divulge some secrets on how to have a fun but affordable night out in Vegas. It's Tuesday, May 14th. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Rob and David, you're longtime Las Vegans.
That is fact.
Facts.
Long enough, yes.
Long enough. So do you think that Vegas entertainment has gotten more expensive over the years?
Yes, it has.
Agreed.
And yes, it's pricing out
yes,
locals.
it has.
Okay.
Yes, agreed. It's pricing out locals.
Oh, okay. So why?
We're in total agreement here.
What is happening? Is it like growth? Is it inflation? Like what's going on?
Well, I think the clear answer is that back in the day, for your gambling dollar, you basically had Las Vegas or Atlantic City. And that was pretty much it. Now, you could go gamble pretty much anywhere across the country right now in all sorts of casinos. So Vegas has shifted its model. Now, things like dining and entertainment, which used to be cheap, or if not cheap, affordable, and in many ways loss leaders to bring gamblers into the casinos, have now become the attractions themselves because Vegas can't rely just on the appeal of casinos and gambling.
That's also the millennial shift, though. The millennials are gambling less and drinking more, and so the emphasis has been more on experiences. So what I'm hearing, Rob, is you're once again blaming millennials for destroying an industry. Is that true, truth or false?
Well, I can personally vouch that you don't have to be a millennial to drink more. I just want to get that out of the way.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
But inflation's a big part of this. But also something I want to point out is the entertainment dollar has gone up at quite a different pace as inflation. So the other day, I'm a little older. I was watching a Led Zeppelin video that was unearthed somewhere,
God bless
discovered,
you,
found footage.
You went into the deepest, darkest depths of Mortar to find a girl so fair. I'm very poorly quoting Led Zeppelin right now.
Well, she's buying a Stairway to Heaven, and it costs more than ever.
Yes.
So I was watching this video from 1975 on YouTube, and I started thinking, how much was a concert ticket for Led Zeppelin back on this tour back in 1975? So I looked it up, and funny enough, on the official Led Zeppelin webpage, they actually archive a lot of stuff, and they have an inter-office memo from their management. And I have it right in front of me now, and it says, because of the current concern for concert attendance and existing economic situations, Led Zeppelin has fixed a top ticket price of $850 for their U.S. tour.
Wow, this is the days before Ticketmaster for sure.
Yeah, so I did the inflation calculation.
Rob went down this rabbit hole. Okay, go on.
I dived into some mathematics, and $850 in 1975 is the equivalent of $49.35 today. Imagine if the top ticket price for Taylor Swift or Beyonce, the Rolling Stones, whoever's the top touring act today, imagine the top price was $49.99.
David, are you imagining?
$50.
It's a different world, but I'm just waiting for Rob to go down a Fugazi rabbit hole next.
So
Fugazi
specific.
tickets are a lot cheaper,
Yes.
especially in your favorite dive bar.
David, what do you think?
So Fugazi is famous for keeping
Not
tickets
about
accessible.
Fugazi.
Oh,
I mean, that's
no,
great,
of course
though.
not, because we're talking about Vegas. Even when they played Las Vegas, I mean, you do find these bargains, and I couldn't agree with Rob more about the whole loss of the lost leader era of Las Vegas. That's a lot of losses in there.
Yeah.
It used to be sort of a natural instinct to offer up lots of free entertainment or low-cost entertainment just to get people in the door, because they knew once they're in the door that in all likelihood they would gamble, and that's where they would make their real money. Now, not to say that real money isn't being made by casinos to this day. I mean, collectively, they pull down over $1 billion a month. And so
record profits.
And so I don't know if the narrative that the millennials killed everything is fair to anyone, especially millennials, as much as there is a new, maybe not a new kind of greed, but a different flavor of greed where they just really want to maximize profits everywhere that they can for whatever purpose. And we as locals who used to get the benefit of, you know, the analytics that really only cared about gambling, getting the short end of the stick when they're counting every single bean everywhere and trying to just maximize profit out of every sector of Las Vegas. And I want to talk about the gaming sphere because, you know, in the day, if you were somebody who showed up, local or otherwise, in a casino on a regular basis, you forge these relationships with the pit boss, even the dealers, et cetera. And you could ask them, like, hey, you know, I've been gambling here for a while. Can I just go get a comp over at the coffee shop, get some free grub? And it would never be an issue. They used to have pads, like literal pads of paper.
No, never.
And someone would just sign it, hand it to you, and you could go get a meal. Now it's like, well, let's see what your play is on the player's card. Let's add it up. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, you only lost $1,000, so you get a $2 credit. You know, it's a very different world right now, Sarah.
And so, I mean, I think part of it, too, is that people who are visiting are still willing to pay these high prices to go see a show or have an experience. They're on vacation. But that means that, like, the local on a Wednesday night, we're doing a whole lot less of these experiences that we have access to on the Strip, but maybe not financial access to. So what's one thing that you've seen advertised and thought, oh, I'd go there if it were $50 to $100 cheaper?
Oh, easy. The Sphere
Sames
shows.
Yeah.
Period. Including the movies, which it's like a 50-minute movie, and it starts at $100 plus hidden fees. And I'm going to say hidden fees because you can't go on the website and figure out what they are unless you register for Ticketmaster and give them all your information.
It's like $125 or $140 minimum, and then on
right, and it goes
up.
all the way up. Yeah, over $300 if you want to see a 50-minute
Not for a concert,
movie.
Yeah.
No, that's not even getting to the concerts. I mean, the concerts seem to be completely unattainable for any reasonable budget.
Yes. Yeah. Same. I would love to see the inside of the Sphere. Do I have that kind of money sitting around? Do I want to spend $125 on a partial view? No. I mean, the answer is no.
They're counting on you being a Phish fan or a U2 fan, willing to shell out possibly 4 figures to see one show, which for some people, I guess, is worth it. But I think for most, it's like maybe someday someone will buy me a ticket to the Sphere, or my company will do a thing at the Sphere, and I'll check it out that way.
You're saying
not our company. Hey, if anyone's listening in our company, you need to do some research. Send us to go see, I guess, Zach Brown? He's the next one announced?
Yeah, obviously we should buy advertising on the Sphere. This is one of my proposed ideas.
To me, it's more about, you know, sometimes it's kind of like these bucket list dinners, like A by Jose Andres or Restaurant Guy Sava. It's that kind of stuff where I've been to those places and I loved it, but I would love to go more often.
Oh, that's a good point. You go once for the experience and you would go back and do it again, but not at that ticket price. Okay, so let's go the opposite way. What is something you've seen or done here in Vegas that has been worth the high price tag?
I think the U2 show was definitely worth whatever you're going to spend on it. I'd like to see them come back. I think it was worth it. I think the movie is kind of a bucket list thing, too. I don't know if it's you have to see it, Postcard from Earth. But, you know, sometimes if you just end up there, you know, sometimes in Vegas you just end up places.
I don't end up places for $200.
Yeah,
but
I still can't get the meme out of my head about going to sing the movie at the Sphere, which is really like an indictment of humankind on our wasteful ways and climate destruction and whatnot, and the irony not lost on the memester. It's like I'm going into a place that is charging me over $100 to teach me to save the world when this structure itself is a world killer.
Well, if you're going to walk into the Sphere with scruples, you're probably not going to enjoy it as much as you should.
Okay, we are moving on from the Sphere. Let's just pretend the Sphere no longer exists. I know you guys, you every time I record with you, it's either the Sphere or parking, which is great. It's very lovable. David Figler, what is something you've seen or done in Vegas that was expensive, that you thought was worth the price tag?
Well, here's the thing. I have friends who still want to try a Vegas buffet, right? And those prices, even when they were super cheap, were not a deal for me.
Sure.
Because I don't eat a lot. I'm a very bird-like in my food consumption.
You're a lean fella.
Buffets have always looked at me like, this is the guy we want here, you know, because they're never going to lose. But, you know, we're talking about the old days of like the surf buffet over at the Boardwalk Hotel. And here's a little Easter egg for longtime Las Vegans. There used to be a fighter, UFC type fighter named Butterbean. He was a huge, big guy, and he used to have a commercial. And they were trying to serve him a fancy meal, and he's like, the bean don't eat no snooty food. I'm going to the surf buffet at the Boardwalk. And like the top price at the surf buffet for dinner was $8.99.
Okay.
So very different from Caesar's Palace Bacchanal buffet, which, you know, I believe...
So it's about $100.
It's like about $100 with food and beverage,
and
or
tips
even
and stuff,
like the cheaper ones. You know, like the one I really like is over at Wicked Spoon, and that starts for dinner at about $55.
Do you think that's worth the price?
Yes and no. I mean, they do good food there, and it's obviously less expensive than some of the higher-end restaurants that exist in the same hotels, like the Wynn, like the Bellagio, like the Cosmopolitan, where, you know, you could go out just like wiping your eyes that you just spent $300 for dinner with you and your friend.
I do think once you're getting into that price range, it's almost like you might as well go to the restaurant next door and get a meal where they're really specializing in something instead of having a lot of just like a little bit of stuff that's okay or above average.
Hey, it's David Figler, and one of my favorite food festivals is coming back to town. It's Vegas Unstripped over at the Palms Hotel on Saturday, May 18th. Over 24 chefs from some of Las Vegas's most talked about restaurants creating original, unique menu items they've never made before. Chef creativity at its best. We're talking chefs from Partage, Esther's Kitchen, Milpa, EDO, and more, including this year's James Beard Award finalist Steve Kessler from Aroma. Tickets are $150 and are all-inclusive of food and drink, so you don't have to pay for anything once you're inside. No hidden up charges. I went last year, and it was so crowded in the best possible way. We got one remarkable dish after another, and while it was a little indulgent, here's the best part. The net proceeds go to local charities. So head on over to vegasunstripped.com to get your tickets now. We'll see you there.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
We have a lot of good shows and entertainment here. We have some terrible ones, too. I've also seen some of those. But I have been gone on and on about the Dita Von Teese show, Dita Las Vegas, which is at the Horseshoe. We got mid-level tickets. It was over $200. It was worth every penny. It's one of the best shows I've seen in my entire life. It was truly incredible and a really amazing Vegas experience. And then sort of the flip side on that is I was here for a bachelor party and wedding before I lived here, and we went and saw Magic Mike live. We got the cheap seats, which I'm sure were still, they might have been just under $100, so like not crazy. They still give you a show. That theater is not big. There are dancing men's placed all over, and they are so dedicated to making sure everyone has a good time. Some poor male dancer / stripper climbed all the way up to the back of the balcony where we were to grind on the bride-to-be. So they are committed.
Oh, hallelujah. It's a fairy tale ending.
They smell very good, shockingly good. And you can touch them.
You're paying for it.
It's an immersive experience.
Yeah.
You're paying for that cologne.
Worth it. They smelled delicious.
So when I was doing some of my research today, I was going over some sites and trying to figure out, okay, who's actually offering discounts?
Sure.
So I went on Groupon. It's not uncommon to find concert tickets on Groupon.
Okay. Groupon, great tip for some discounted show tickets. There's also, and maybe when you can remind me, there's that that system that you can buy into where you can check it like every day or a couple times a day, and it like gives you free or super discounted seats. You know what I'm talking about?
So Vegas has a few online subscription services, and the idea is you pay a flat rate membership, and then when free tickets become available, because they're trying to fill up theaters that have empty seats, the tickets are given away on a first come, first served basis. And these are geared towards locals, and I know in at least one case, you have to be local to sign up for this because they don't want to advertise this to tourists.
What are they called?
So the most popular one is house seats.
House seats. That's the one I was trying to think
and
of. Yes.
The last time I checked, their, I guess, starting cost was $49 for 60 days. And that's good for like two tickets
right?
per show. So if tickets become available for a certain show, you can claim them on a first come, first served basis. And if you're the kind of person who's down to go check out some shows here and there, I think it's worth it. The service pays for itself.
It does.
You have to be flexible. You know, Adele's not going to show up on house seats, but, you know, some comedians might, some
Rob Schneider will be on house
But every
seats.
now and then you get some surprises.
Paula Abdul has shown up on house seats. I have a friend who got 2 Paula Abdul tickets that were in the second row via house seats. So if you're really good, if you're like sitting at your computer all day, if you're checking it, like you can definitely get some good stuff. I've seen for the most part, it's like the really local nightly casino shows. I've seen some absolutely horrific shows, but for free. And so, like, it still ended up being a good night out. And I also saw a really amazing, the Billy Joel impersonator, is so good. And I had such a good time. And I saw that show for free. So, like, house seats, like, it can be really fun if you want to have an adventure for a couple months. David, do you have any tips on some free or discounted show tickets?
I think there's a lot of attractions off Strip, too, that people, when they come visit you, or even if you want to go check out on the regular, like I am a huge fan of the Neon Museum. Their ticket prices aren't horrible, but I will say this, that you can become a member, and they're a nonprofit, so you're supporting something that is worthwhile just to start. But as part of those like memberships, you can absolutely get tickets to go all the time and discounts for your friends' tickets and other little perks and stuff like that. And it's totally worthwhile because, you know, as an adult, you're spending like $25 to go in, $20 as a Nevada resident. But you can go and get a membership there at all sorts of different levels. And one level starts at $75. So if you're thinking about it, if you're already spending, you know, $40 to $50 just to go once, if you want to go back repeated times or go with friends or whatever like that, it's a total bargain for it.
I always bring my visitors.
A lot of the museums in town do have a deal like that. And here's another bonus of being a member of one of those museums is that you get free admission to hosts of museums around the country. So whenever you travel, when we were Neon Museum members, we would show our little card and we would get in free to museums in Michigan and Chicago and just all over the world.
David, you have been called the king of comps. I'm not sure by who, but you are. So, like, do you have any secrets that you're willing to share with our listeners on how to get comped?
Sure. Gamble your fortunes away. Gamble.
No.
Lose.
That's not what
always.
you do. Is the alternative is you just have to be David Figler, man about town?
That's a hard question, Sarah.
Okay.
You know, a comp is of like people in the great frozen north have so many words for snow. We have so many different words for comps, I think. How comps come to you. Sometimes it's personal relationships. Sometimes it's old or new ones.
We got comps from cream spinach last night.
We did get cream spinach last night. What did I do for that? I didn't have to gamble anything.
No. We just have a lovely friendship with the wonderful Kim Owens of Main Street Provisions. We stopped by for cocktails and got cream spinach on the side.
No, a lot of comps just comes to people just in general if they do have players cards and, you know, either they gamble a lot or they haven't gambled in a long time. The casinos will still do the whole lure you in with like, hey, we've got free tickets to go see Garth Brooks. You want to come?
Sure.
And it's like, wow, okay, and haven't gambled there in a long time. And so, that's part of the game with players' cards, but of course it's also part of the trap. And as much as I lamented the loss of lost leaders, that is in a lot of ways how they get a lot of folks here in town, is that they sort of lure you back in with these lovely compy things, and they hope that you're going to gamble.
But don't use them too much,
Yeah, it's a weird look. If the consumers could figure out the algorithms about the casinos, as well as the casinos figure out the algorithms about the people, we'd all be seeing free shows.
On the flip side, I think you do need to say, if you are gambling at these big casinos, if you're a regular casino visitor, absolutely sign up for the rewards clubs.
Or introduce yourself to a host.
Right. But I'm saying those things add up. And if you have a credit card that's like an MGM credit card and you spend it there, the points add up and you can eventually trade those in for shows, for dinner credits. I mean, if you're doing that in the first place and you're spending money in the casinos, absolutely do the rewards club. It is free money at some point.
But lest we not warn about the dangers of gambling in a way where you're trying to get something and maybe get a little lost in it because of unhealthy behaviors.
That would not be the way to go around it.
Well, where do we think Las Vegas entertainment is headed? Has it left locals in the rear view?
It becomes harder for locals. I do appreciate the businesses that do offer at least some locals discount. That's the class move. Expensive things like going over to a Mega Mart over at the Meow Wolf, they offer a $10 discount for Nevada residents. So
that's true.
Instead of a $54 ticket, you pay $44.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Or you could go even to the Haunted Museum, which is in my neighborhood, so I think I should be able to go there for free because we have to put up with their cars coming into our neighborhood all the time.
Sure.
But, their regular ticket price is $54 to see creepy dolls or whatever is there. And locals pay $6 less. So maybe not the biggest discount in the world, but still, it's a little tribute to the locals.
Sure. Rob, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we do have growing neighborhood art scenes. So, there's theaters like the Majestic in the Arts District that offer entertainment on a smaller scale, but also at a less expensive price point. So I think as the city grows, we'll see a little bit more of that. I would love to see some real locals discounts show up and have the Strip appreciate the local community a little bit more. When I was at the Sphere and I had a chance to interview the CEO, James Dolan there, he mentioned wanting to incorporate some stuff with schools in Clark County. So you know what? If you could do field trips and get some kids inside that thing, I think that would be something that would spread some goodwill.
And just bouncing off what Rob said and what I said before, season tickets are a great thing for locals to be able to enjoy entertainment and spread it out. Even places like Majestic or Vegas Theater or Public Fit, if you can get season tickets, not only, reminds you to go to and support these shows and stuff like that, but it does become an economic benefit that you're paying way less than the one-offs. And so when you can support local arts groups, absolutely do that because it's not just a great thing, not just great entertainment, but it saves you money in the long run.
So, maybe it's just becoming more of a divide, right? Maybe the Strip is really for tourists and we're going to just start going down there less and less and less. But you know what? We do have the entire rest of the city, which has some really, really awesome things that are still affordable. So, yeah, maybe we just leave the Strip to the tourists, huh?
Well, here's the last thought on this is that sometimes just drop that you're a local. You never know. You may hit a friendly who says, you know what, I'm going to give you an extra discount. That happens sometimes at retail and things. So, yeah, wear your local with pride.
And, there are local discounts, especially with spas and a few other things as well. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask if you're going to be on the Strip anyway. Just ask if there's a local discount and be ready to pull out that Nevada ID.
Rob, David, thanks for your tips.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Hey, if you enjoyed this show, share it with a friend, rate our show, leave us a review, all those things that help a podcast tick. You can also subscribe to Rob's Baby, our morning newsletter, Hey Las Vegas. Always lots of great event listings for locals in there. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Take care.